Shark hunting is a long-standing profession, associated with many coastal fishing villages around the world. Before setting out to sea, fishermen prepare large boats, equip them with long fishing lines, strong steel hooks, and fresh bait such as fish or squid. They drop dozens, even hundreds of fishing lines into the sea, and then patiently wait. Sometimes it takes hours, even days, for a shark to bite. Once the prey is hooked, the entire crew must work together to pull it onto the deck. This is the most dangerous moment. The shark struggles violently, swishing its tail, spitting water, trying to escape. Once under control, the fishermen immediately handle the situation to keep the fish meat fresh. The fish slaughtering process is carried out in a clear order. The fins, which have high commercial value, will be cut first. Next, the fish body is divided into large blocks, cut along the backbone to get each piece of firm meat. The fish liver is also kept to be processed into oil, used in medicine and industry. After washing with seawater, the meat will be chilled or salted on board for long-term preservation. After the voyage, the sharks are brought to a large port with a cold storage system and processing plant. Here, each piece of meat is sorted by size, color, thickness, etc. The white or light pink meat has a distinctive flavor and is rich in protein, widely used in the food industry. Some is consumed fresh, while the rest is dried or smoked for long-term preservation. The fins are cleaned, thoroughly dried, and packaged for export to various markets. The liver oil is extracted for cosmetics, dietary supplements, and medical products. Shark hunting is both arduous and risky, but it also demonstrates the special relationship between humans and the sea. They must confront the enormous power of the ocean to make a living, to turn resources into economic value. Each stage, from hunting, dissecting to preserving, requires technique, precision and coordination from an entire group of fishermen.
Finally, after all this walking, I can see the cabin.
Have.
In the middle of the freezing winter, life here is still quiet but full of vitality. In the dim light of the early morning, strong hands cut each block of red meat, wiping it clean meticulously like a traditional ritual. When the meat is hung on a wooden rack, the cold wind and dry air become a natural worker, helping to preserve each piece of meat through the long winter. In the distance, wooden roofs are covered with snow. The smoke of the mountains rises into the cold sky. The whole community joins hands, not only to store food but also to preserve an old custom. Each piece of red meat on the drying rack is warm. A memory, a way for them to tell the story of adaptation and perseverance in the face of harsh nature.
Did you hear that wolf? Sorry. Yeah, sounds like it's getting closer.
It must have washed ashore during the storm. I've never seen one this big up close.
On the white snow, the meat drying racks stretch out like red fences. The weak winter sunlight reflects off each strip of meat, reflecting a bright red color, glowing in the cold. The men slowly check and adjust each hanger. Every detail is done carefully. This is not just labor, but the harmonious coordination of an entire community accustomed to living with the long winter. Amidst the vast snowy mountains, kitchen smoke rises from the small wooden roofs, blending with the patient work rhythm. The work of drying meat seems simple, but hidden within it is an art of living, precision, experience and perseverance passed down through generations.
We need to document the lesions before the tide comes in.
When the last strips of meat were hung up, the drying area became a red field amidst the cold white snow. The whistling wind, the clanking of iron hooks, and the steady sound of footsteps echoed like a familiar winter rhythm. This work was more than just preparing food, it was a bond of the entire community. Hands followed one another, each clearly understanding their role. Above, the night sky was lit by a shimmering green aurora, illuminating the meat drying area like an ancient ritual. When the work was finished, everyone gathered around the outdoor fire. The warm yellow light dispelled the cold, the smoke drifting into the quiet night. In the bitter cold, each saw and axe strike resounded decisively on the ice and snow. Large chunks of meat were neatly separated, each red fiber standing out against the white space. This was a moment that required strength, dexterity, and even generational experience. Men dragged heavy sacks of meat on wooden sleds, their breath steaming faintly in the cold wind. Each step was slow but sure, like a part of the rhythm of life that had survived many harsh winters. Each sack of meat, each chunk of meat was a common achievement, not only to feed the community, but also to preserve a way of life, a tradition tied to the land, to the snow, to this winter.
Almost there.
It's getting cold out here.
Yes, but the sunset is beautiful.
Amidst the pure white snow, hands covered in sheepskin gloves skillfully wiped each piece of fresh red meat. The work was slow and precise, like a ritual that had been repeated for generations.
Perfect for the feast.
Each piece of meat, after being wiped carefully, was neatly arranged on a wooden tray. The cold wind and dry air here were the perfect conditions for preserving food for a long time. The weak afternoon light shone down on the meat blocks, making them glow red like small flames in the ice. The surrounding air was quiet, except for the sound of wiping cloths, soft breathing, and the sound of wind whistling through the snow-covered roofs. Fresh red strips of meat were hung neatly on wooden frames, swaying gently in the cold wind of the Arctic. The dry and cold air became a companion, silently preserving the precious food source. The sun gradually set, the sky darkened. Above, the emerald green aurora stretched out, illuminating the meat drying area like a sacred ritual in the heart of winter. Everything became so quiet that people could clearly hear each breath of smoke drifting in the air. When night fell, everyone gathered around the fire. The warm light from the fire blended with the cold snow, creating a scene that was both harsh and full of life. In the middle of the cold winter, inside the small wooden houses, the fire flickered and gave off warmth. The elderly told stories, the children gathered around, their laughter mixed with the sound of the wind outside. Those intimate eyes, hands and breaths were the place where memories resided. In the harsh cold, people found warmth not only from the fire, but from each other.